हेलो नमस्कार एंड वेलकम टू टॉकिंग पॉइंट ब्लैंक। आज हम बात करेंगे पाकिस्तान की। नाउ टू डेवलपमेंट्स इन पाकिस्तान आई थिंक विच आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू टॉक अबाउट। एक जो है वो है जो वर्ल्ड बैंक ने $40 बिलियन का पाकिस्तान के लिए लोन जो है वो अप्रूव किया। इट्स अ फर्स्ट ऑफ अ काइंड लोन, पैकेज फॉर पाकिस्तान ऑफ दिस बिग an amount, which is going to be from 2025 to 2036. नाउ इसके दो पार्ट हैं। एक $20 बिलियन जो है वो पब्लिक वेलफेयर के लिए है, जिसमें एजुकेशन है, जिसमें इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है, जिसमें मेकिंग लाइफ ऑफ पीपल, फूड प्रोटेक्शन प्रोग्राम है for common masses of Pakistan. And then there is another additional $20 billion, which is basically to attract private funding into Pakistan, investors into Pakistan. So, developing infrastructure on that part, doing public-private partnerships in Pakistan. So that is another part of it. So the total amount is about 40 billion US dollars. Now, India has rightly raised its concern when it comes to this, because the track record is that whatever loan every time Pakistan has got, there has been huge mismanagement of this fund. And Pakistan has been channeling this through different money laundering operations, and going ahead and basically financing terror uh, in its neighborhood, whether it was Afghanistan, whether it was Kashmir, whether it is rest of India, or whether it is in any part of the world. Pakistanis have always used the World Bank money and bankrolled their own terror industry, their own terror financing, and their own terror industry, exporting of terror industry. That is the only industry which is very viable in Pakistan as of today as well. But why does World Bank want to do it, and why is it that they really think that by pumping in $40 billion into Pakistan will change, or there is a hope that Pakistan will change? Because remember, a leopard never changes its skin, never changes its spot. So, if the world thinks that giving money to Pakistan is going to make Pakistan stop terror activities in its neighborhood, then they are fooling themselves and no one else. But is that even the goal of the US, or do they want Pakistan for strategic purposes of what is happening in the region? Whether it is Afghanistan, whether it is Iran, whether it is Bangladesh, where Pakistan has become very, very important for the Americans. That's number one. Number two is that what exactly the World Bank is trying to achieve is trying to bring Pakistan out of the claws of the Chinese debt trap. And that is a very important point, because if you look at the Chinese loans which have been accumulated in Pakistan, and Pakistan has been defaulting on it year after year from last 3 years, the time is coming wherein Chinese have started making serious headways into Pakistan. And they started doing this from Gwadar. So Gwadar airport, already they took over. Gwadar port is something we know that the Chinese are actively looking to place its navy in the port. It doesn't make any commercial sense. The Gwadar port never made any commercial sense. It always makes a military sense. But apart from that, there is another thing which Chinese did, which they announced, CPEC, which would be bypassing Balochistan and bypassing Gwadar and going right into Afghanistan. So with that kind of an announcement with Afghanistan, Americans cannot risk losing, Pakistan entirely to China. Uh, and to recover Pakistan from the claws of Chinese debt trap, they might have gone ahead, and the rationale is that they would like to go ahead and they would like to pump in money into Pakistan, so that Pakistan doesn't have to give its complete sovereignty away to the Chinese. The Pakistan have already handed over their critical, uh, their critical Gwadar port to the Chinese anyhow, the Gwadar airport also anyhow. And the Americans would like to stop the Chinese from becoming more and more strong in Pakistan. Now, if you look at the Chinese, and if you study China, and if you study why Chinese and Pakistani relationships were the iron brother relationships, I think the time has come where the Chinese have largely met their strategic objectives in Pakistan. Because if you read if you read Chinese papers, if you read Chinese think tanks, you will clearly understand that Chinese plan in Pakistan was to take control of every major installation, every major, place in Pakistan, which then China can use, whether it is the ports, whether it is the roads. Not only that, whether it is even the agricultural lands. China actually wanted the whole of Pakistan uh, to render it useless so that Chinese could protect themselves from the Islamic terror, which the Chinese are extremely fearful of. And their strategic calculation in Pakistan is also based on keeping the terror away from their own boundaries, and especially from regions like Xinjiang or East Turkmenistan, which is commonly known as. But apart from that, increasing Chinese footprint in Pakistan also gives China a leeway on India. That is exactly what China wanted to do in Bangladesh. It also opens up China to the Arabian Sea completely, giving them full control in the region, help them work with the UAE and countries like Qatar, Iran, and have a greater influence on them. So the Chinese plan of debt trapping Pakistan and then making Pakistan completely subservient to the Chinese needs and to the Chinese interest in the region, I think the Americans is a last ditch attempt from the Americans to rescue Pakistan, as I said, from the Chinese debt trap claw. But the risk with that comes is huge, because the problem with Pakistan is, and this is what the world has not figured out, is that Pakistan has always managed to balance the two largest powers in the world quite, I would say diplomatically and quite successfully as well. They have always managed, the Americans and the Chinese always played them against each other for their own interest. And, that is the risk again this time with the Pakistanis. The Pakistanis might take huge swaths of money from the Americans. But will the Chinese influence, will it stop the Chinese from playing their influential games in the region? I really don't think so. On the contrary, they will try to balance China with American investments and show China that they really are not very dependent on the Chinese. Now Chinese have reacted to this kind of development with the Americans in a softer way. The Chinese have again done a $3.3 billion, they have again rolled over, a kind of rollover is an easy word I can explain this into. They have again given them a rollover of a $3.3 billion. So the Chinese have also made a very, you can say a soft messaging to the Pakistanis, saying that we are willing to go soft on you. We're willing to go, easy on Pakistan when it comes to Pakistani loans towards China. The loans are about $30 billion. That's what Pakistan owes China as of today. Now, before this, we had seen a very strong arming China on Pakistan when it came to investments. China is taking over the special economic zones, which are built under the CPEC in Karachi or in Lahore or in Balochistan and other parts where Chinese are really planning to do that. So this is the first time that Chinese have shown a softer approach towards Pakistan when it comes to rollover of the loans. Otherwise, Chinese have played extreme hardball and behaved extremely tough with Pakistan. So that tells you the change of temperament into the Chinese mind, because now the Chinese do recognize the threat it poses to their strategic interest in Pakistan. So Pakistan is something which is going to be a point of contention between the Americans and between the Chinese. And this major contention will be fought in two particular geographical areas. Two particular geographical areas, which is going to be Balochistan and which is going to be Afghanistan. Now, how Taliban is going to balance the Americans and the Chinese together is to be seen, because I don't think the Afghans would be very keen on going down the same way the Pakistanis have gone down with China. The Afghan would be looking at more of a balanced relationship with the Chinese and with the Americans. But given the track record of Americans and their ability to basically, mess up the relationships they tend to create, it is going to be a point of contention both for the Afghans and the Chinese on how to handle the American presence in Afghanistan as well. But with Pakistan, it is going to be very, very clear. Now, both China and America want to, basically pull and push Pakistan towards its own sphere of dominance in the region. But given the fragilities inside Pakistan of its own problems and its own extremism and its own weight of its own economic mismanagement, there are a lot of chances that there is going to be tears within Pakistan. No, I'm not suggesting that Pakistan is going to break tomorrow or day after or in 1 or 2 years, but where Pakistan is headed as a vassal state, it will suit both the Americans and the Chinese. A time has come where now it will suit both of them to actually break them or fragment or balkanize Pakistan into little spheres of influence, and that is where the Balochistan comes into picture. It will start with Balochistan. When will it start? It's not an easy guess, but ultimately it is going to lead to a position where we will see balkanization of Balochistan happening. We'll see balkanization of KPK happening, and I've been talking about this. Now, my time frame is between 8 to 10 to 12 years, between 8 and 12 years, to be very honest. At the time of about 2032 to 2035, that's my timeline. But then let's see how it goes. But what does it bring for India is very, very important. Now, given the time that Pakistanis are going to get this huge influx of loan from the World Bank, it is going to be tough for us to manage our borders and our relation with Pakistan. Now, there are two very, very important aspects into it. And aspect number one is the developments happening in Bangladesh, because what is happening in Bangladesh has a direct bearing of how Pakistan is going to behave with India. What is going to happen is the way we are seeing Americans dumping weapons. There are reports and credible reports of Americans actually dumping weapons in Bangladesh for the Rohingyas because they want to carve out a corridor which the Bangladesh army chief had very categorically said that he would not let the corridor of blood being built from Bangladesh to Myanmar. But given the American interest and given the American push in Bangladesh, I wouldn't be surprised that it is a matter of time when that happens, because already the Americans are working on it, the Pakistanis are working on it, ISI is actively involved in Bangladesh. So what that means is basically, if you're going to fund the Rohingyas in Bangladesh, you will have a border which is going to open up from your eastern front. Now, that is going to be trouble for India, because the Pakistanis will try to perpetrate as much trouble as they want from the eastern border and try to escape the ring of scrutiny in the international world. That is point number one. Point number two is it will also, and that is a far more dangerous thing. The way we have seen the radicalization which has been happening in the Terai region, which borders Nepal with India, or the radicalization we have seen in Bengal, or the radicalization we have seen in border areas which border Bangladesh and which border Nepal. This radicalization is basically going to increase, and it is going to create more fault lines within India's own geographical boundaries. And the more these fault lines appear in years, the more the chance is that the instability within India is going to increase. Now, that is a bigger threat because you have a lot of Bangladeshis, you have a lot of Rohingyas who are living in India. And, their presence in itself is a grave national security threat to our country. But enough said and enough talked onto that. So, but the reality is that, the more money Pakistan gets, the more active Pakistan becomes on the terror front towards India. And now, especially with World Bank giving them $40 billion, it is but natural that Pakistan will be trying to create more pockets of terror across India through different borders of India, and Pakistan will be actively involved in a lot of happenings that is going to happen from our western to our eastern borders. How are we going to mitigate those risks? I think Operation Sindoor is one option we have. But then, given how the Pakistanis and the world have reacted and bought a ceasefire swiftly, the Pakistanis came begging for it. They went to the US, Americans put the pressure, the Chinese were also involved. Do we really need to be at a constant war with Pakistan, months after months or years after years? And what is that going to do with our economy as well? Is it going to help our economy, or does India decide that it needs to finish Pakistan off once for and all and goes for an all-out war, which is not going to be easy, to be honest, given what is happening in the region and the geopolitical, this geostrategical calculations of both the Americans and the Chinese, will be risking a very, very dangerous conflict in that case, by invoking larger powers into it, by involving larger powers into it. So I think next coming few years are going to be tough from the Pakistani side. We are going to see a lot of an extreme, rumble rousing happening from Pakistan. We are also going to see Pakistan attempting to create low intensity terror incidents within its boundaries in India. We're going to see Pakistan effectively meddling into Bangladesh, trying to create problems for India as well. So how do we mitigate the risk? As I said, I have already given you the options, but I think the major option would be one, to seriously look at RIC, which is the Russia, India, China block. But RIC is also, if you want the Americans to behave and work with us like an ally and not like not like a partner or a stooge, the way Americans work, the vassal states. India cannot and never be a vassal state. But then that is one thing where India can really put pressure on US to go cautiously on Pakistan. Second is, India will have to continuously strive to declare Pakistan in the blacklist of FATF. And if we are able to do that, we'll be able to then stem a lot of potential terror which will come out of Pakistan. Given the interest, both American and the Chinese, in Pakistan at the moment, it is not going to be an easy task. But it is a task which we should take with priority nevertheless. And I think that we should be lobbying very hard in all international forums for banning Pakistan and putting Pakistan on FATF blacklist. I think if Americans want a good Indian relationship, then this is something where the Americans really need to support India as well and show that they can be a credible partner when it comes to Pakistan and when it comes to India and America, US relations. So the geopolitical games in South Asia are going to increase as both China and US are going to clash, and the clash is going to happen in the neighborhood of India, from east to the west. How things will shape up, I will let you know. And I'll come back with another episode on that and track these developments and keep bringing my analysis to you. I hope you like the analysis I give to you, I present out to you. And if you like it, kindly I request you to share this channel with your friends, with your family. Help me grow. You can contribute by becoming members, also from super thanks, super stickers, and super chats. I am also looking forward to create members only content where I'll be taking live questions from the members, where I'll be giving a lot of presenting a lot of point of view on different geopolitical happenings within the region, and not only that, but also things which really matter within our boundaries and our country as well. So I hope you are able to support me by becoming members for this channel, and I hope to see you very soon in my next video. Till then, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.